going YouTube? It's KG93 here, and today I'm going to be doing the review for the UV Cell Phone Sanitizer from Violight. And I apologize in advance to Violight so much because I got this product, it had to be over a month ago, and I've just been so swamped with schoolwork that I haven't had the chance to do this review. And also, the reason why this review took so long is because I am currently, well, I took the time to actually test it with actual bacteria testing plates and equipment from my school's lab. So that's why it took me a while. It took me a while to get to the lab and prepare all the stuff and whatnot. So I'm finally doing the review. I finally have a little bit of time this weekend, so I'm going to be filming this right now. But again, I apologize to Violight so much for getting this review out really late. So first of all, as the name implies, the UV Cell Phone Sanitizer from Violight, which is this device here, sanitizes your cell phone and other small electronics using UV light. And UV light, as you know, can kill germs, and as it says on the packaging here, it says eliminates up to 99.9% of germs and bacteria. And like I mentioned in my unboxing video, it has all these different types of bacteria on it that it gets rid of, and so on and so forth. So enough with the box and all that information. On to the actual review of the product itself, which again is this thing here. It comes in three parts. You have the lid, which is this thing. You have this small basket, and then you have the base, which is where everything happens basically. And how this works is that you need to install batteries, and depending on how big your device is, you use one of two things. If you have smaller things such as, I don't know, maybe earphones or a Bluetooth headset, then you stick that in this basket here, and then you put this basket inside. Now I'm not sure if you can see that, but there's a button at the bottom, and to have the Violight UV Cell Phone Sanitizer turn on, you need to push that button down. And this thing has a little weight on it, so that it pushes it down if something's too light, like your earphones might be too light to press the button down. So you put your earbuds in here, and you put it in, and then there's a magnet on the back here, right there, that activates the UV light when you put the container on top. Now, I don't have batteries in this right now, so it's not working obviously, but you can trust me that it works. The UV light turns on anyway. So if you're, say, sanitizing your cell phone or your iPod like I am, iPods are obviously heavy enough, so you just put the iPod inside, so it clicks on the button, and then you put the cap on top, and then it'll start working. Now, pros and cons to this. Pros, it's very sturdy and it's very rigid. It's not going to break. This basket, it does give a little bit when you squeeze it, but again, it's pretty tough material. This type of thing does not feel like it's going to break anytime soon. Also, it's manufactured very well. It's very nice and detailed, and it's very clean, and in the way they manufacture it's very nice and high quality. It's also very easy to use. As you can tell, you just stick batteries in it, and you just stick your device inside of it, or devices or small electronics inside, and then you just stick the cap on and just let it run its cycle. And the big pro is that it really works. Now, how do I know this? Well, the thing is that, like I said in the beginning of this video, I actually went ahead and took the time to go to my school's lab, and then I went to actually do some bacterial testing. And as I mentioned in my video, when I actually doing the procedure, I did have formal lab training before this, and I also have been doing this type of thing for 2 years in the past. So I do have a lot of experience on how to actually test bacteria and what kills it and what doesn't, and how to keep everything controlled and not contaminated. So I'm gonna have probably a link to that video in this area right here maybe, and so if you want to click on that, that's fine. If you don't have to, but that's just me explaining some things and showing you how exactly I went about testing this. And to go on with the pros and cons, that's pretty much all for the pros. For the cons, actually this isn't necessarily a con, but this might be considered a little too big for you, but it might be considered small for you depending on who you are and depending on how you use it. Again, it is big enough to house many different types of electronics. Like if you have an iPod Touch, right next to it you can see kind of the size comparison. So it might be a little big for you. So, or if you're the person that doesn't really mind semi-big and/or bulky electronics, that's okay. But again, this is just something that's personal preference, whether you think it's too big or too small or something like that. Another thing is the cost might be a hindrance for some people, although the $50 US that this that Violight charges for this product is not really that bad of a product considering that it actually works. And I'm going to show you at the end of this little segment, this pros and cons segment, of how exactly I know it works. I'll show you guys the results of the bacterial testing so you guys can see firsthand, well, not firsthand, but you'll see the results of it on the actual bacteria plates. One other con that I kind of found, which it's not really con, but it's kind of inconvenient. I mentioned before that this uses batteries, and the thing is, it uses AA batteries, and they're not included, so that's kind of a bummer. But also, it's the fact that it uses 3 AA batteries, and as you guys know, most electronics use either 2 or 4. They generally use an even number of batteries, but this uses 3. And so that's kind of weird because I usually have like pairs of batteries laying around. So if I did need an extra one, I'd have to cut a set in half. And so that's just kind of, you know, different. But if you're the type of person that has tons of batteries laying around in a box somewhere, and you can spare like 1 extra battery, that might not be so bad for you. But for me, because I don't really have that many batteries, it's kind of an inconvenience to like take 1 extra battery from some other device and plug it in here, or just get another battery in general. So that's pretty much the little pros and cons segment, the little introductory segment. I'm now going to cut the video here and then go on to the bacterial results, and then I'll come back and give my final opinions on this product. So what we have here are the 3 plates that I used to culture the bacteria that was growing on my iPod Touch before and after I stuck my iPod in the UV Cell Phone Sanitizer by Violight, which is this thing here. Now, you guys saw in my procedural video what exactly I was doing, so I'm not going to go ahead and explain that now. I'm just going to show you guys the results. So, like I said, there's a water beaker in my experiment that I used to transfer the bacteria from my iPod to these various plates. And just so you know, this was just the swab that was dipped in the water and swabbed directly on here. As you can see, no bacteria growth whatsoever. Okay? So moving on, after the water plate, we have the plate that's growing the bacteria that was on my iPod before I stuck it inside the cell phone sanitizer. As you guys can see here, there is in fact bacterial growth. I'm not sure if you can see that very well, but there are in fact 10 colonies. Let's see if that gives any better contrast. Yes? No? Probably not. But believe me, there are 10 growths on that. And so, actually this is probably a better angle to count them, but you see 10 bacterial growths on this before I stuck it inside the UV Cell Phone Sanitizer. And this plate shows the results of after I stuck it in the UV Cell Phone Sanitizer, and as you guys can see, bam, not a single colony of bacteria. Now I know that this fuzzy thing growing in the corner, you guys will complain and say, oh, look, you have some growth there. That means the UV Cell Phone Sanitizer must not work. Okay, I'm going to reason with you guys why this growth is here. First of all, this product does not guarantee 100% bacterial killing. It only guarantees 99.9% of germs will be killed. So there's a chance that this is that 0.1% of things that won't be killed by this UV Cell Phone Sanitizer. However, I have scientific knowledge on this, and since I've been doing this for about 2 or 3 years now, I know better than that's probably not the answer, and here's why. Agar, which is this yellowish stuff that you see here, is the medium that bacteria grows on. And you guys probably don't know this, but I do. Agar does mold pretty easily, and that's due to its old age. It's made of stuff that does mold pretty easily and in a relatively short period of time. Now, these plates that I used, I got these from our school's lab's fridge. They're kind of sitting in there because currently the freshmen, the 9th graders in our school are doing science fair right now. So the teacher is constantly making these plates. And there's a chance that this is just a plate that hasn't been used or just left behind because it was an extra. But all 3 of these plates were left in the fridge, and I just picked this up. So there's a chance that this one is just molding due to old age. Now, there's something else that I want to tell you guys that which leads me to believe that this growth was not caused because it wasn't killed by the cell phone sanitizer. When I cultured these plates on this past Thursday, I checked them on the next day, which is Friday, and I could see small bacterial growths, not as big as this, but small ones on here, and nothing on the after plate. But when I looked at these on Monday, which was yesterday, I could see that these bacterial growths were pretty much the same as they are right now, as you see them here. However, this mold growth was not here yesterday. This mold grew overnight. And so, since bacteria grew here, but not on here as of yesterday, I can conclude that this mold growth popped up as of just overnight last night. And you guys should know that mold does grow relatively fast. So it's not like this was just something prolonged that it was like, oh, it was slowly growing, then bam, popped up. It doesn't happen like that. If it happens like that, it happens overnight. Bacteria generally grows overnight in an incubator, which I did keep these plates in. And so I'm pretty convinced that the mold growth on this plate is because of old age to the agar, not because that it was, contaminating anything. So again, you have the water plate, which again has nothing. You have the before Violight plate, which has 10 bacterial growths, and then you have the after Violight plate, which has 1 mold growth. I'm pretty sure, due to the reasoning that I told you guys before, is not because it was not killed. There is a chance that I'm wrong, and there is a chance that that is the type of thing that this thing will not kill, because it only guarantees 99.9% germs that will be killed and sanitized. So hopefully you guys will take my word for it. As far as I know, I'm the only YouTube reviewer of this product that has done legitimate bacterial testing and has had official training in bacterial culturing and transferring stuff. So hopefully you guys will see from my procedure and from these results, you will be convinced that this product does indeed work. Whether or not you guys want to say it is 99.9% effective or not, that's up to you guys, but I'm pretty convinced that this product actually does work, and for the $50 you paid for it, I'm pretty sure it does what it says. So now that you guys have seen the bacterial results and you've seen the pros and cons, you guys can probably agree with me that this product is a pretty good product for what it offers. It does what the box says it does. It does kill 99.9% of the bacteria. And if you guys want to believe that whole mold thing that I told you about, go ahead and think what you want. But I'm the type of person that doesn't like to lie about things, especially if I'm the one using it. So I hope you guys take my word for it that I did the best I could, and that mold was not because this thing didn't kill it. It was because the agar was old. The mold would have appeared right away if it hadn't been killed initially by this little thing here. So I'm pretty sure that the UV Cell Phone Sanitizer did its job and did kill the germs that were on my iPod. And so in conclusion, basically I would rate this pretty high. For $50, it does what it says. It cleans your electronics without soap and water, obviously, and it cleans it with UV light and does actually clean it, kill the bacteria on it. And so if you're the type of person that's a germaphobe or you just like to keep your electronics clean, it does do that. It does just that. And so I would recommend this for anyone that does like to keep their electronics clean, and or other small things that you can't just dunk in soap and water and clean it, or you can't clean it with a moist cloth. Now I know that you can just clean this with a damp towel, but it's sometimes just more convenient to just put it in here and just let it go and go do something else for 4 or 5 minutes while this is completing its cycle, and then just coming back and pulling out, and your device is clean. So I would again rate this pretty high. I do like it very much. I would recommend it for anyone. And I want to thank Violight again for sending this out to me for review purposes. And again, I apologize for getting this review out very, very late. But again, I'm just bogged down with schoolwork. So again, I want to thank you guys for watching. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this one in the future. See you guys later.